Mock neck. I don't even know if I've seen it,
Wait,
honestly.
actually, I feel like I wear it all the freaking time.
No, I don't think I have.
I love it. It's so
No, it's so
comfy.
cute. I'm obsessed with the mock neck look right now, except like every single one's like $70. And I'm like, I'm not buying.
I was just gonna say, I wish we could like sell this as merch, but I paid a pretty penny for it, and I almost didn't do it. And this is
Yeah.
my
So
company,
like,
so nobody
yeah,
else would.
it's a good benchmark to see if people will pay for it or not.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. It is really cute though.
We need to get you one.
I know. I need to switch up. I'm like tired of the same old rotation because it's like the only sweatshirts I wear are my only human ones.
I
My
gotta be
three only human ones.
honest. I'm like a little sick of our merch across the board.
I know, me too. Well, I mean, it's been a year, right?
True.
I mean, that's when we usually are like, we're good. We get the itch for things.
Something
After
new.
a
Although I guess we can
Yeah.
tease a little bit. We're currently designing some hats for summer. We're gonna add some color against all things that I stand for. Jess
Yeah,
has
that Karli
strong
stands
armed
for.
me. But it'll be fun. We're coming out with like a new
Yeah.
little design and yeah, like a couple SKUs for the
Ooh.
summertime.
Fancy. Why are you so far away today? I'm like trying to back up to meet you, and you're just really far.
Well,
Yeah.
initially we were talking about my sweatshirts and
Okay,
I was
fine.
letting it be shown. And then I
Fair.
also have said previously, I don't like when the camera's so close to my face. Nobody needs to be this close to me.
Oh god.
Oh my gosh. How are you? We're recording in the morning again.
Yes.
So good
I know.
morning.
I'm like, I think I can get behind this. I mean, it's not 7 a.m. or anything, but I think I can get behind a morning recording.
Yeah, nice and fresh.
Yay,
How's
Rachel
your-
said, yay, color to hats. Oh, I know exactly which one she's going to get. She's a
Which
pink
one?
girly. Yeah.
The pink will be cute.
Very cute. You're like literally, you're crossing your fingers while you say that.
I
Honestly. You're like,
I'm
you
like,
won't catch
I'm
me in any
cringing.
of these colors.
Well, that's why don't
Will
worry.
not wear her own merch.
Anybody that is not a color girl, we are ordering like a nice like tan color. So it's kind of like going to be like a monochromatic look with like a beige hat and then like a little bit of a darker tan, like coffee look. So there'll be something for everyone, even me.
Yeah, even you. We had the all inclusive for Karli, but
Exactly. How was your night yesterday? I feel like you guys went into the city, right? Once the rain stopped and the sun came
yeah,
out.
we did. So we did go into the city. We did not do what we planned to do. The funniest thing, we were like trying to find something to do indoors because it was raining yesterday. So, I mean, obviously the city is like 45 minutes, but we're like, screw it. Neither of us work today. We're going, like, we'll go down into the city, do something. We're going to do mini golf and a comedy show. Perfect night. Well, so we're getting ready and the sun just comes out and it's like shining and we're like, oh wait, the Phillies are playing tonight. And we looked at the tickets and they were like ridiculously cheap. So we went to the Phillies game instead.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we got there like 2 hours early. Like literally they were like closing up from batting practice. Like we were so early, which is ridiculous because we usually miss the first pitch because we're late. But yeah, so it was so fun. I mean, they ended up losing, but they started out like better than they have been, I think.
I literally texted, the Phillies are winning for once. And then 5 minutes
Yeah,
later,
no.
we were down by
Went to
2.
shit.
And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
perfect. And then I didn't actually look at the result of the game when I woke up this morning. I went to bed before it ended. So I'm sad to hear they lost. But that makes sense why the tickets. What the hell? The tickets were so cheap.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, and it actually started. So when we left, it was like completely sunny. Like it had never rained and there was no rain on the radar for the night. And then literally as they were getting ready to throw the first pitch of the game, it started raining. So we got wet. It wasn't like terrible, but it was definitely like, I think we stood in the concourse for like the first inning and watched and then like had to wipe our seats off and stuff. And it was cold. We were icicles yesterday. It was freezing.
Yeah, this week in general looks cold again. I'm like, what the
I know.
hell? Can
I'm
spring
not
just
here
stay
for
a
it.
minute?
Goes back to our previous conversation. I'm just like, yeah, no, give it all or don't give me anything, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's not
I want
abiding.
all the nice weather. Yeah.
I know. I'm excited for our episode today because it kind of came about in like we both were feeling it and I had an idea of what to talk about and then you had an idea and then we kind of just combined the two. So really like the general theme is like overthinking and being extremely indecisive, which is something
Yeah.
I think we both battle with. And I don't know why we battle with it so much. And I
I
always
don't know
ask
either.
myself the question, like, is it normal? Like, is it just part of being human to just like always have like this cyclical thought in your head and
Mm-hmm.
like rumination of the same thing over and over again? And I don't have an answer for that. Like, do you know
Yeah.
if it's normal? Do you think the average person battles with that?
That's what I was gonna say is like overthinking is one of those things that's like such a silent battle. Like you
Mm-hmm.
don't really know. To say that it's like normal, probably not. It's probably not super healthy to be like in cyclical thought and, overthinking like little tiny things like I
Mm-hmm.
tend to do. But I think it's very common.
Yeah, that's
And
very
it's very
true.
hard to articulate, I will say. Like I think it's a difficult feeling to like explain other than just explaining your thought process of like the
Mm-hmm.
back and forth. But
Yeah. When you think about yourself overthinking, like, has that always been a characteristic trait of yours? Like, does that stem back from childhood? You've always been that way? Or is that something you've kind of stepped into in your adulthood?
that I've stepped into for
Stepped
the
into the
better or
power of
worse.
overthinking.
It's so funny because I have a hard time remembering myself as a child, like my inner thoughts. So I don't think so, but I don't really know. I think it's something that has like just come along with my anxiety as I have gotten older.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? I think you
100%.
might have a different answer than me though. What do you think for
No, I
yourself?
was going to say, actually, like, I do think I've always been an overthinker, but I think it stems from my anxiety. I think it's
Yeah.
extremely intertwined. And, like, obviously, we kind of laid out some, like, thought starters for this podcast episode. And I was, like, just kind of answering it because I was like, this can have the ability to really be, like, a high level confusing, rambly episode. And I didn't want that.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to actually come with some concrete examples. And so it really made me reflect before pressing record today.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, I think it does stem from anxiety. And when I give examples of like what overthinking looks like or how it shows up in my relationships or, me at work and my productivity, like I think we'll really like see that. So yeah, I think I've always been an overthinker, but I think the nature of my overthinking has just changed in terms of how it manifests throughout my
Yeah.
life.
Yeah. I think I don't even know when it was, but I think it was very recently that I kind of like took note of like what was actually going on in my head. I think otherwise I was kind of just so deep into it, but I've since been able to like kind of take a step back and view like what's going on in my head objectively and kind of like be like, what the hell? Like this is crazy. And I think I'm at the point right now where I'm like, I now recognize what I'm doing and I'm like, this is crazy and exhausting. Like crazy meaning like this doesn't need to happen. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just so ridiculous. Um but yeah, so I'm at this point where I'm like in the observation period, but I'm like it doesn't stop the thoughts from happening or like allow me to like come to a decision quicker or stop overthinking. Like I don't know, I'm just in this like observation phase.
Well, I feel like that's the first step, right? Like, they always say the
Oh yeah.
first step is awareness, but like what a powerful exercise to go through because the power of perspective, like
Mm-hmm.
it's so easy to live in your own head and that is the only way that you know.
Yeah.
And it's
So
not
true.
until you develop another perspective or point of view and compare it against what might be normal, you would never know that the loop that you're stuck in that's exhausting and overboard is not how your brain was meant to be wired and
Yeah.
meant to like conduct itself day in and day out and how other people aren't going through that experience. And so like to take a step back and be like, actually this is something that I'm going through, but like it doesn't have to be this way. This isn't quote unquote like normal. Only then can you then initiate a change,
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I feel like I've been talking a lot in the like hypothetical, so let's get like a little tangible for a sec.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think like what's something that when you think of overthinking, like what's something that you've overthought recently? Like walk me through what that was like.
I actually have two examples. One of them was my Pilates playlist for Saturday. We went to Mason Mills Park for the Flawless Fitness like member appreciation celebration. And I taught that class and I had curated this playlist. And I'm always like extremely intentional about the songs that I play. And I always wonder if other Pilates instructors are equally as intentional or like really think through their playlist. But I'm always like, okay, I always start with the same song and end with the same song. But in terms of like the warm up, I'm like, we start slow and then we get a little bit like quicker. And then I want to throw in like some rap. And then like I like to kind of like keep the people on their toes and like never know what song comes next. So I very much overthought that. But then fast forward to Saturday, my Spotify was on some fucking bullshit setting and it was pulling in songs from absolutely nowhere. It wasn't even on my playlist. My playlist was playing out of order. And so the whole
It was
thing
Smart
went to
Shuffle, by
shit.
the way, for the audience. It was on Smart Shuffle.
Well, I don't think it's very smart. I think it's stupid. So it all went to shit. But you know what? I rolled with the punches and it was fine.
Yeah.
So like that
Yeah.
was kind of like a pure example of something that I put a lot of thought into and effort into that like didn't even need to be done in the first place. Like yes, it's a nice to have, but like Karli, you didn't need to take it that seriously because it ended up just going off the walls anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious. I think there is a difference between being very intentional and like that's kind of like your brand and your like passion. So like you enjoyed curating these playlists. It's for a specific reason. So I'm curious if there was a line where it was like, it's not anymore just being intentional, it's being overthought.
That's a great question because I completely agree. And I am extremely intentional because I think it all curates the experience that I want to give the people taking my class. And I take note of those details when I'm taking other people's class and it actually affects my time. So I do think there's a line and there has been times in the past where I spend way too much time looking for that last song.
Perfect song.
Yes, to like get me to that 45-minute mark. So there is a line. I think with this playlist, because I hadn't taught in a while and I was trying to find songs, I did spend more time than I would have liked. And I think I knew that going in. So that was the case of overthinking. Just one
Rachel
other
said
example.
she hates Smart Shuffle, by the way. You guys should create a Smart Shuffle hater group or something.
Perfect. I will create the group.
You're gonna organize.
Create the petition because that was a shit show on Saturday. It wasn't even like songs that I was like vibing with. I'm like, this isn't even the same like genre of what's on my playlist. Like this is just sabotage.
It was so funny because at one point, we're going off the rails here, but at one point there was like a song playing and Karli was like, what is this? Like, sorry, this is not on my playlist, but we're going to go with it. 5 seconds later, okay, sorry, I can't do it. Changes the song.
It was Kesha. And I'm like, okay. The girls seemed excited about it. They're like, I haven't heard Kesha in forever. So I'm like, you know what, Karli? Be a team player. Leave the song on for everybody. And I was crawling out of my skin within 10 seconds. I'm like, can't do it. Sorry.
Skip.
Big fat skip. I have one more example and then I want to hear yours, but I feel like this is more so the conventional, like traditional way of how overthinking shows up for me. Last night, I had a little bit of like a slower evening. We were supposed to podcast. We ended up pushing it to this morning. And I had an extremely busy weekend. I literally did not stop from like Friday at 6 a.m. until Sunday at like 4:30. And I was debating going somewhere or not, like something chill, like just going over to hang at somebody's house. But like I could not make up my mind. And I'm like, well, it's still light out and it's early and I have a couple hours to kill. But if I go, I know I have Westchester tomorrow and that's going to be a long day and a late night. And I've been on, so I should really avoid burnout. But I'm kind of like bored now. And it's like, and it literally went on so much so I started getting ready to go to the place. And like, I was like kind of ready. 20 minutes. I'm like, actually, no, I don't want to go. And like, I didn't. But like, it took that exercise of like, get up, go through the motions of going and see how you feel, because I could not evaluate that in my own head. I had to like bring it to life.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, that's like very...
that doesn't describe me as a person. I don't know what does.
Similar to my like story that I have, but actually, as you said, that you had to go through it to decide, that actually reminded me of something that, so my answer now has changed to, was I this way as a kid? Yes, because that like you explaining that vividly brought me back to standing at my kitchen pantry at my parents' house and having like Lucky Charms and Cinnamon Toast Crunch in my hand and being like, do I want this one? Do I want this one? No. Well, I had this one yesterday, but then I really want this one. But then, well, what if I have half and half? And then, but then no, but then like literally that's like what would go on in my head. And so what I would try to do is pick one and then be like, am I disappointed?
Yes,
Didn't really work.
I love doing that. Oh, okay,
It never really works for me because I'm not able to fully commit because I know it's a trick. Does that make
too
sense?
smart for your
So
own
like,
good.
yes, I'm too smart.
Jess is like, yes, I'm a genius.
Yes.
Complete sense.
No, I mean, that is like, and it's just funny. I think some people, there's going to be a very great divide. It like people listening to this are going to be like, that's bonkers. Or they're going to be like, no, that's the dialogue that I have in my head. And I think it's like good for both sides to see because like I said, it's such a silent battle to know like, even though we know these things are ridiculous in our head, like it does not stop those thoughts that are just racing and like they just won't leave you alone. God.
I was gonna say I love that you brought up the whole exercise of like choose one and then evaluate how you're feeling. I'm curious if that doesn't work when you are the decider because you know that you can like go back on the decision. Does it ever help to introduce somebody else? Because I am either like that person that is like, let me decide for you. And then how do you feel now that I decided that?
Yeah.
Or I will solicit somebody to do it for me and be like, okay, you just decide. You make the decision. And then if they choose the one and my heart sinks a little bit, even though if it's like something so minuscule, like what flavor ice cream am I getting? Yeah. That's my indication. Oh, I wanted the other thing. But do you find that when someone else is making the decision for you, it allows you to like, because it feels more final?
Yeah. I do. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I do defer to other people a lot, like especially in like making decisions. I'll like present both both sides and how I'm feeling about each side and like what my reservations are, and then I'm like, well, what do you think? And while I do that, I also am like trying not to do that because that's also not helping, right? Like that's not helping the underlying fact of like I need to be able to do this myself. So yeah, I mean, it definitely does help because then it's like, it just feels like it's not on me. And I think that like kind of comes to our next point that we want to hit of like, what is this underlying like feeling or like, what is it that's like making us so indecisive? Is it the fear of making the wrong decision? Is it not having trust in ourselves or what is it, you know?
Yeah. I think kind of bringing it back to how we started, for me, I do think it is anxiety and the desire to feel in control. But I also think it stems personally from me having been an athlete before and me always wanting to make decisions that make me feel like on my best game or at my best self. And so a lot of times when I am overthinking or having a tough time making a decision, it has to do with like my well-being or like how I'll feel in the future, whether it's like what I'm going to eat or if I'm not going to sleep as much because I choose to do one thing over the other. Like that's, I think, like the root. And I think it all stems from anxiety and control. But I'm curious if that's the same for you.
That's so funny because honestly, I think a lot of the situations that I overthink or that I like ruminate on, like if I made the right decision or what I should do, I think it all does usually go back to trying to look out for my future self. And it's like such a weird thing, but I think I'm a little bit too conscious. And it sounds like you're the same exact way. Like I'm a little bit too conscious of like the consequences or how I'm going to feel the next day because I'm too conscious. So then that causes me to be in this spiral of like considering my future self over my current self. And it's like, exactly it's not always like a good thing. So my example that happened recently, it was last Sunday. So yesterday was Sunday. The day before, or the Sunday before that, I went to the Phillies game as well. And it was like a 1:00 game. And so we were like getting out of the parking lot at just say like 4:30. And we have this restaurant that we love to go to in University City, which is like super close, kind of on the way home. And so we were hungry and we were like, should we go to Han Dynasty? And Aunt was like, yeah, like, do you want to go? Because I had work the next day. And so he was like, okay, you have until like 4:52 on this clock to decide. It was like 4:50. And I was like, okay, well, like partially saying this out loud, but partially in my head, I was like, okay, well, like we have to eat, like we're hungry. And we're sitting in this parking lot in traffic trying to get out. Then we have an hour ride home. So it's probably going to be like realistically 2 hours and 15 minutes until we eat. And then I'm going to be like hangry. Like, I'm really hungry at that point. But then if we go to Han Dynasty, then we're going to be there for a little bit. And then we still have to drive home. And then we might get home later. And then I have to shower still. And I have to work tomorrow. Oh, and then I didn't even like pack my lunch yet. So I have to do that. And like just the runaround of like, and I just cannot decide which one is more like has more or has more pros instead of cons.
Yeah.
And like I was like, okay, well, Aunt, what do you think? And he was like, I want to keep the fun going, so we're gonna go to Han. And I was like, okay. And I was fine with that. But like I was just trying to consider my future self so badly. And there's been a couple times where like that the same thing will happen. Like I'm doing something on a work night and I will just like literally say to myself, like, no, I'm going to do this thing because I want to spend time with X person or my family or whatever it is over being tired for work tomorrow. Like it's like I can do it. Like I'm going to be tired when I get up and then I'm going to roll through the day just like I always do. So I feel like a lot of my indecisiveness, it doesn't come from like, it comes from anxiety for the future, truthfully.
I like that. I already knew we were very similar, but like hearing that internal dialogue, I almost knew what you were going to say next. Because I know like your schedule and like the things that you might need to do before bed. And like I am the same exact way of like over engineering everything and like weighing the pros and cons. And that's honestly how I make 99% of the decisions in my life. It's like fully playing out each option and then choosing. But doing that for everything on the table all day, every day is exhausting. I've gotten efficient at it and I feel like I can like be like, but like everything's always like computing in my brain to lead me to the decision that's better for my future self, like you said. And it's anxiety in the future. It's anxiety of being hungry in the future or anxiety of being tired in the future or like ill prepared. Like I always want to be prepared or on time or like, and so I honestly think it also stems from a little bit of like perfectionism or the tendency to like be an overachiever. I think it goes hand in hand that if you are a little bit of like a control freak or a little bit anxious by nature, you're also a little bit of a perfectionist and a high achiever. And so you're an overthinker as well. It's like a holy trinity.
Do you feel like you're overthinking? Like I kind of just explained how I feel like it's in more of a specific context. Do you feel like your overthinking and like over analytical mind kind of translates into other areas of your life, or is it kind of just like on that end? Like does it flow into work or like what you're going to wear or whatever it is?
So actually what I wear is not something that I overthink. That is like the one thing, but I was just about to say, I think a lot of my overthinking also stems from the perceptions of others. So just a silly example this morning that I clocked and was like, what the heck? I drove my dad's car to Pilates because mine's all loaded up with the Westchester stuff. It looks like a fucking clown car right now. And I'm like, I'm not lugging that to Pilates. So I got out and it took me a second to remember that I had my dad's car. So there was like 2 to 3 seconds where I was like sitting in the parking lot being like, wait, where is my car? Like looking confused and kind of looking like an idiot. And then I was like, oh, I drove my dad's car today. And the fact that I said that out loud, like, oh, I drove my dad's car, as if I was telling somebody else, indicated to me that I was saying that out loud to justify my current behavior to an external person looking in on the situation. Not to myself, because I wouldn't have been like, oh, my dad's car. I would have been like, oh, I have dad's car. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I said it as if I was saying it to somebody else to justify what I was doing. And that was kind of like an aha moment of like, I was more concerned about, in a microsecond did this all happen, but I was more concerned about the onlooker than myself. And so I think that absolutely does show up like in instances when I'm overthinking a presentation at work. I'm overthinking it because I am so nervous about how I'm going to be perceived from my clients when I'm presenting.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with like only human engagements. When I used to be really nervous when we stepped on stage, like I would overthink that and play it out in my head before we ever got to that moment
Yeah.
because I was so scared of like the judgment and perception. So I think that's also like an undertone throughout.
Yeah, I think that that's definitely like a very common emotion. And I think probably a lot of other people's that may not identify with like the anxiety about it. The anxiety portion of it, I think a lot of people would relate to that side of it is kind of like overthinking maybe in a setting where it's like after the fact, like maybe you just looked around in the parking lot and then had to put like your panic button on, and then you're driving home and you're like, oh my god, did like all of my friends just see that? Like that kind of overthinking post like action. And even though you kind of described like pre-action, but also like I think there's a lot of room for overthinking.
Yeah. Do you also feel like you worry about the perception of others? Is that how overthinking shows up for you? Or is it mainly like the anxiety and control and like your schedule and like considering your future self?
Yeah, I think it's mostly in that setting because like even when I said that I'm an overthinker to you, like you were like, really? I think, or I'm indecisive to you. You're like, really? I feel like you're very decisive because I think there are things that are when they're very black and white, I'm able to like decide which one I like better or I want to go with, whether it's like a song or like a post or whatever it is. Like I'm pretty good at like calling on that intuition, but it's when there's things involved that are like emotion based or like feeling, you know, like
Which
even when you invited me to breakfast, like I was like, should I go? Like I knew that I like didn't really want to go in my current state, but I was like, should I go? Because like I really, you know, haven't seen her and I want to have girl time and I need to get away and like what I like, and it's just, yeah.
You know what this reminds me of? You know, when they say stressing about eating the food is more harmful for your body than just eating the food, right? So if you're sitting there and we'll just keep rolling with the donuts from last week, there's a donut sitting in front of you and you're like, I really want it, but that's so bad for me. It has so much sugar and so much fat and it's going to spike my blood sugar, whatever. Versus if you're like, I want that. You eat it and you move on with your day. They always say like the toll on your nervous system from getting yourself all worked up about the donut is worse than just having the freaking donut itself. It makes me see a parallel with this in terms of us always wanting to do something that will leave us better off in our future state.
Yeah.
But in our current state, we're stressing ourselves the hell out because we are projecting and we're going over and over and over the details and weighing the pros and cons. And it's making our nervous system be in overdrive all the time. Constant stimulation, constant inability to turn the brain off. And it's just making me realize like that in itself is more damaging than getting thrown off of our routine now and again.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely can see that. And it's just so much mental energy that it takes up to be to go back and forth and be like, I don't know. And then make the decision and be like, is this the right decision? Am I going to regret this decision? As I'm talking, I'm like, I think I actually, this like all of my anxiety is around work and having to wake up the next day or like being like, oh, like I have to work 2 in a row. Like, cause that will impact my decision. Like if I'm only working 1 and then I have another day off, I'm like, okay, I can stay out later and do things. Like I have more tolerance because I'm like, I just have to do 1 day. I can do anything for 1 day. So yeah, when I get a fully remote job, I'm gonna be like out on the town all the time. I'm gonna be making all the decisions.
You're gonna be making decisions for yourself and other people.
Yeah,
like random person on the street. This is what you're doing today.
I'm a decision maker now.
I think your situation with work is a little bit unique though, because you're a pediatric ER nurse. So like you are literally saving lives. Like your job is not for the faint of heart and it is like a very serious. So do you think that plays a role? Like if you were signing on for a silly consulting job. Like people are always like, I don't have a real job. I work in corporate America. The people that have the real jobs are the ones on like the front lines, like dealing with people and again, saving lives. So do you think that plays into it because you take your job so seriously?
No.
Okay.
That was beautiful, but no, I don't. I think it's
At
just
least
the
she's
fact that I
honest.
have to wake up at 4:50 and
Yeah.
I want to what do I say? I like hate myself when I wake up. I mean, even if I have a full 10 hours of sleep, I'm still going to feel tired because it's just so early, but like I just like hate myself when my alarm goes off and I have to get out of bed to have like a 16-hour day. Like I'm just like that's like so anxiety inducing for me.
And especially if you're like, I shot myself in the foot because I could have been well rested. I could have made like the adult decision to like go to bed at a decent time so that when my alarm goes off. I think that also stems from like your deep desire to just feel good, right? And like feel in control. Speaking of at work though, do you ever battle with indecisiveness in the workplace? Like you have to make split-second decisions at times, I'm sure. Like, do you ever feel yourself questioning the right thing to do?
No, I don't.
Do you think it's because there's more of a right thing to do and there's less room for weighing options? It's like, oh, this is the right protocol.
Yeah, I mean, I think when I think about having to make decisions, I think about kind of triaging what is most important for me to do first. And I think that's just in my work. I think that's just a muscle that I've worked so much that I inherently kind of just know, like, I need to do this first. This can wait. Or if I have competing priorities, then I know that I can delegate one of them. So I think I've gotten to a point where maybe in the beginning, just because I didn't have enough experience, I would maybe think a little bit harder about like what to do first. But I think I've just like practiced and like used that muscle so much that I like pretty much know. Like, I don't really, there's not like a lot of ruminating or like decisions to be made. It's kind of just like, it is what it is. And you have to make decisions quickly. So you just get used to that. Like,
well, what I'm hearing from you is it's a muscle that you've built. And so you've practiced being decisive, but you also really sound like you have assurance and confidence in yourself to operate in, you know, a moment's notice and make the right decision. And I think that can be applied across the board, because I think sometimes when we are overthinking something or overanalyzing a situation and kind of feeling like analysis paralysis and you're like, I cannot make a decision, it's because we don't have the confidence in ourselves and we second guess ourselves in terms of the decision that we make. Is it the right one? And I think that inability to like just be confident in the one that you do choose and just move on with your day, like I think that's a really huge hindering factor.
Yeah, no, that's very true. I think in like we're talking about overthinking and like as it relates to being indecisive and making decisions, like I think it is a really big stem from being confident, and kind of like we're describing, you can be confident in some areas of your life and not be confident in others, and it causes you to overthink in those areas instead of like other areas. Like just like if you decide, well, that's kind of a bad example. I was going to say like decide what color to paint your room. Like, you know that you don't want it to be blue. Like if somebody gave you the option between like blue and gray, you would choose gray because you know you like gray more. But it's just because you're confident that like that is your liking. Like,
Isn't it funny though, as I'm hearing you talk, I'm reflecting on if I'm a good decision maker for other people. And the answer is yes. Like I am the most decisive person. If anybody ever asks me an opinion, so rarely will I say, I don't know, or like it doesn't matter. Like I am a decisive person when it's at the disposal of somebody else. Like,
people.
But for me, I'm like, I actually am calling on other people. And that's something I wanted to ask you about, because you mentioned with dinner the other night, going to Han, like, and kind of being like, you have until, you know, this time to make a decision. And I think it's a really interesting thing to explore how our over analytical mind affects others, because it absolutely does. And I know ways that I've seen it affect my relationships, but I'm curious if you found that it has affected yours with Ant or just family and friends in general.
Oh, I feel like we'd have to ask him this question, because I feel like is kind of the one that was like, you are really bad at making decisions. Like, you
Mm.
can't just figure it out. And I was like, oh, yeah, actually, you're right. I feel like he's my, like, light bulb. He's like, like, did I ever tell you the story about, like, I was having, like, heart palpitations, and, like, my heart was racing all the time, and I, like, went to the cardiologist, and he's like, okay, so everything looks good. Like, you're drinking a ton of water. Like, you're not dehydrated. He's like, do you have anxiety? And I was like, no. And he,
Are
I
you
went,
sure?
I was like, no, we're good. We can check that one off. And I go home and tell Aunt that. And I was like, yeah, he kind of like doesn't know like what's going on. Cause like, you know, and he asked me if I have anxiety, and I was like, no. And he's like, what? You told him you don't? I was like, do I?
He's like, babe, I've known this about you since you were
He's
11.
like, he literally goes, he's like, yeah, I sit with you when you're in the car, and I know that you have anxiety.
Wait,
Because
that's
when
crazy.
he's driving, I'm like, I like consciously try not to do this, but it's so hard. Like, I'm just like moving, like I'll readjust my seatbelt, or like I'll turn the volume up, or like turn the heat warmer on, or and then touch my phone, and then I'll be like I'm always like
Fidgeting.
doing something. But that's like it's so weird. I don't know if it's just the car, because that's just not me. Like, I am very like
You're very
calm
calming
and zen. Like,
presence.
I think that's when I realized that like my anxiety is, aside from when I'm in the car apparently, is just so internal. Like, I like probably 95% of the people in my life, like if you ask them, or that know me, if you ask them, does Jess have anxiety, they would be like, no. And so that, like, I think, well, now we're on an anxiety tangent, but like I think for a really long time I looked at anxiety as like this external thing that other people can see and you can like kind of almost visualize, but like my anxiety is just like all in here. It doesn't really manifest in like a hyper activity, you know?
Yes, which just goes to show anxiety manifests so differently for different people, and it really is a silent battle to a lot, because it's not something that's portrayed to the outside world. And even you lived with anxiety and you couldn't even really put your finger on it. You didn't even know that was something that you were battling. So not only was it a silent battle, but it was one that you weren't even aware of at the time.
I
So
know.
how could
It
you
was
ever
it was so
intervene?
silent. I didn't even know that it was there. My sister just commented, you have anxiety, LOL. I said 95% of the people in my life would not know that I have anxiety.
Yeah,
You are in the 5%,
yeah,
unfortunately.
sis. You know her better than anybody. Do you ever find that your overthinking affects your sleep? Like, will you find yourself waking up in the middle of the night? Because that's one of my biggest symptoms. I will wake up, my brain literally is in beta mode when I'm sleeping, and I will have like these come to Jesus moments when I'm like turning over in my slumber at 3 a.m. And there's times where I'll have to like pull out my phone and like make a to-do list. Like, it doesn't stop. My brain never shuts off. Do you find that that's something that you battle with, or you're able to like turn it off at the end of the night?
As per usual, I think it's a complicated answer, because I do remember times where, like, I'm just thinking about when I was living at my old house. Like, there were times when I was doing that all the time, and that's like a lot of the time that my heart was racing, and I was noticing my heart racing, is when I was laying in bed trying to relax. And I don't really know what has changed since then, but like since then, like my anxiety, my palpitations, like all of my physical symptoms, like my overthinking when I'm trying to relax, like those have kind of resolved. I don't really know why, but there was a point where that was happening to me, but now I'm pretty much, unless there's like, just say we had like a really big event like tomorrow, then maybe I would think about it, or if there's something I'm excited about, but not really like any bad overthinking.
Yeah, like
when
not
I'm
on a
trying to
day-to-day
relax.
basis. Yeah.
Yeah. But does that happen to you like pretty often?
Yeah, I would say, again, I do think it ebbs and flows. Like when there's something big coming up and there's like a lot of logistics or details that need to be like worked out, and I don't want anything to fall through the cracks, like I'm definitely more so on overdrive. But I'm also the type of person that, because I have so many thoughts crossing my head at every moment of every day, like I just need to like brain dump a lot. So I find myself able to cope by pulling out my phone and just writing things in a note app, or taking out my journal or like schedule and just writing it down. And then once it's out of my brain, I'm like, okay, I can exhale, because I think I'm so fearful that I'm going to forget something and then never
Same.
think about it ever again.
Yeah.
And I
Because
don't
how many
want
times
to
has that
drop the ball.
happened? You like remember something and you're like, oh my God, I almost forgot that. And you're like, what if I did forget that? But you didn't. But you're just like, what if I did? And then I wouldn't have done this. And then, yeah. No, I totally can see that. And I do like, I definitely do that, but I don't think it's like because of overthinking. But that's like actually one of my most favorite tools is whenever I'm thinking about something, writing it down. Because then I can, like you said, just get it out of my brain and be like, okay, I don't have to think about this anymore because it is somewhere. And I think that's why like journaling is very therapeutic too. And I'm like, you can definitely speak to this because I don't really journal, but it just feels like you're getting these things out and then they can just be there and they don't have to be up here.
Yes. Yes. I'm curious, something that I've kind of realized as I was writing out these notes and like reflecting on how my overthinking could potentially come off to other people or how it feels to me even sometimes. I feel like it's very self-indulgent to be living in your head all the time. And it kind of manifests as like being very self-absorbed in my opinion, because even when I lean on my friends or like my mom to like help make decisions, it's extremely draining for them to always be weighing out options. And I know that I do that because I like soliciting other people's input and getting different perspectives because I want to make sure that there's not something I'm missing, whether it's, you know, how I should proceed forward or maybe how my actions would if like affect somebody else. I want to always make sure I have like all pieces of information to make an informed decision. And that requires me like tapping other people in and phoning a friend very often, whether it's a small decision or a large one. But then I think about like how tiring that would be for them to have to go through that exercise of weighing options and giving me their opinion. And again, it seems to me like it's selfish because it's like asking a lot of the other people in your life. And of course they want to support you, but there's also a fine line.
Yeah.
I
think there's definitely a line. Like, I mean, if it's like what cereal to eat for breakfast, I think that can get really exhausting, but I think it's really normal. And like, that's why we have friendships and relationships to be able to tap into those people because they know you really well, number one, and they're an outsider. Like you said, there's so much power in perspective. And so what might seem like a really hard decision for you actually seems really easy from the outside because they're looking at it so objectively.
That's true.
You know,
That's
so I
very
think
true.
like you said, there's a really healthy line and boundaries, but I think, you know, like what are friends and family for if they're not there for that kind of support and like perspective, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's just like not abusing that power or like crossing that line, I think is tricky.
Yeah. And I guess like along the lines of it feeling like self-indulgent or being like self-absorbed, I used the example of external, and that is a great like rebuttal of like, well, they actually probably want to show up for you, especially if it's an important decision or like something that you want to work through. Like they'd be more than happy to be that person. But then I think on the other end, with it being like an internal battle, it's like how much mental energy do I spend projecting like my schedule in the future or thinking about future me and how I'm going to feel? Like, can I free up some of that brain capacity to like think about others, help others, pray to God, pray for other people? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how much mental energy I tie up thinking about myself because of my anxiety. Yeah. It's like you could do so much more good with that.
Oh my God, I love that. It's really true.
Right?
And it doesn't even have to be like like just taking the selflessness part out of it. You can just, if you wanted to stay selfish, you could take that energy and put it into more productive things. Like, because it's just straight up not productive. Like even in just taking it a step down, like starting with like actually using it towards things that are productive, you know?
Yeah. Which I think is kind of at the point that we're both at where we're aware, but like, how do we actually take this to the next step and like try to incorporate some tangible, you know, action items of like, well, how can we maybe change this? Because like, it's not really being super serving right now in the moment. So I guess if anybody's listening and like empathizing with us, like, is there anything in your mind at this point of like anything that you feel like you can do better, or, you know, what can we do to just like kind of trust ourselves a little bit more in decision making and eliminate that over engineering of thought?
Yeah. Well, that'll be open-ended. We'll wait for that. We'll wait for those answers because
Yeah,
I clearly don't have them.
I
at this
know.
point.
I feel like
But it's
tuning
going
into
to
the
be
gut and less the head. Like I feel like your body
gut.
sometimes knows, even like in the little decisions, like going with the feeling and like taking your mind out of the equation and just like making a quick decision and not being fearful that it's the wrong one. Like forget that fear.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're on like a gut feeling kick right now. You're putting your mind to the wayside, but I think there's a good balance.
Shots fired.
You're leaning into the gut right now.
And you know what? Yes, I am.
Yes, I am. No, I think there is a really good balance because it's like maybe you do want to go out and party until 1 a.m, but you have work tomorrow. Like that's like you know what I mean? I don't know. That's like a very easy example, but
Yeah.
I do think like we would be a lot better served if we just listened to our intuition, which is like, I feel like our gut feeling, and just went with it. And you know what? I feel like it's also, if you feel like you're using one over the other, then like try to use the other one and see how that feels. 'Cause it might feel better. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Actually, one piece of advice I'm thinking as I'm hearing you talk, like what has actually helped me is always, okay, when you are like brought a choice, one inherently makes you feel more expansive. One inherently makes you feel more constrained or constricted. And like tuning into like, if I make this decision, it's something that you can actually feel instantaneously. It's not like a timely or like a lengthy exercise to like go through that, but it is like a feeling that you get of like, this decision makes me feel bigger or smaller. And like, it could be the stupidest thing. It can be like applied to ice cream flavors. It can, but like, I feel like you said, like you're shaking your head. Like, I don't think
well,
so.
I'm just like, okay, like that's like, that would contribute to my indecisiveness, I think. Like, cause I'm like,
Really?
okay, for the Han Dynasty example, which one makes me feel expanded? Like, I don't know. It's like
Okay.
dinner.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not a good exercise. I'm just like, I feel like that adding that piece to it for me,
It's just like one
then
other
I
thing
have
in
to
the mix.
decide which one it is.
Okay.
And then I'm
Yeah.
like, does it make me feel like, you know what I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I found that
I'm
tool
not saying
works
it
for
doesn't
me,
work,
but
like, yeah.
maybe it's not for everybody. Well, we clearly don't have the
Kelly's
answers,
like, well,
so
I tried.
hopefully nobody came here for any sort of takeaways because this was just a swirl.
Okay, Rachel she has a good ending for us. It says, be okay with the result either way and be satisfied with simply making a decision in the first place and know it'll be okay no matter what.
Oh, I love that.
This is true. It's not life or death.
Nothing is life or death.
Getting Han Dynasty, it's not life or death.
It's not that serious.
It's actually
you say that
life.
a lot, actually.
I know, and I don't take my own advice.
Well, it starts today.
It starts today. All right, I'm
What
deciding
is-
that you're going first with your only human.
Okay,
moment
I was just
because
gonna say.
we're on a cliffhanger here. I
Yeah.
looked at our document because we do like a rough outline just to help us so that we don't swirl in thought. So we put our
still
only
do.
human moment on there. So because we both have a really hard time coming up with our only human moment, even though we have a million a day. So I go on to put in my only human moment, and I see that Karli says pants/sidewalk, and that's it. But it's probably because last week I gave you shit for putting a whole paragraph. I was like, you didn't have to go into all that detail. So then she left me with a little bit. And so we are just eager to hear what this story is.
Yeah, I said, fine, I'll breadcrumb instead. So I feel like a lot of my only human moments up to this point have been like, oh, I felt guilty doing this, or I was sad or anxious. No, this is just purely an embarrassing ass story. So Saturday morning was the Pilates event with Flawless Fitness. And I just take a very quick walk before I have to leave the house. I like 10 to 15 minutes. It was beautiful outside. And I was like, I just want to get like a little bit of movement in and just feel the sun on my face. So I'm basically in my pajamas still. I'm wearing like these like very comfy, stretchy, wide leg sweatpants. And I'm walking around the block and I'm like multitasking at one point, and I'm like looking in my phone. my pant leg, because they're so wide and they're long, must have gotten stuck on the sidewalk. Like there was like a divot in the sidewalk or like a little like lip. It got stuck on it. And I keep walking because I don't realize it. This sidewalk holds on to my sweatpants.
Oh my God.
Not only do my sweatpants rip, they get yanked down. My
Oh.
whole ass is out in the street. My pants, I get pantsed by the sidewalk. And I am stuck on this sidewalk. My pants are literally down to my knee. I turn around. There is this sweet man with his baby outside. And he's like, hey, how's it going? And I was like, did you just see
Not
that?
good. Don't
I'm
ask
like,
me that.
I am so sorry. Look the other way, please. I literally like take my pants off the sidewalk, pull up my pants, and keep moving. And you know what?
Oh my God.
I have the culprit right here to show. This is my pants that have a hole in it, and you
my
can see how
God.
stretchy they are, like this stretchy material.
I don't think
So-
I would have shown my face for the rest
Yeah,
of the
I
day.
mooned the whole block, and it wasn't even 8 a.m. yet. So
And you
that's
just know
great.
somebody's ring camera caught that. If you live on Carly's block, please, we need this video. Oh my God.
Yeah, I've worked
That's
so
so
hard all my
bad.
life to never have. Nobody ever has footage of me like that.
Oh,
No,
my
I'm a
God.
good girl, but damn, Saturday morning when you go on a walk, yeah, it'll get you. So yeah,
So-
I'm only human.
What's
might-
your takeaway? Are you never wearing long stretchy pants again, or are you not going to try to like look in your phone again? Like, what was the?
I wish
what
I could
was
say
the
one of the
lesson?
two, but like
No.
I think it was just a really unfortunate occurrence, wrong place, wrong time. Like that was a freak event. And like I love wide leg, like stretchy sweatpants. Like that's like a trademark of mine. And I also love to multitask while I'm on a walk. Like there's probably going to be texts being rattled off and,
Oh yeah,
and
there is.
emails being answered just like at all hours of the day, actually. So yeah, no takeaways, just embarrassment.
Oh my God, I am so sorry for you. That is so bad.
Yeah, but it's okay. We persist. What's your
Aw.
only human moment?
I should have went first, honestly. Mine's not that crazy, but I also came with like a very stupid tangible one. Like it wasn't an emotion. I don't know if it was because when I saw yours, it kind of like sparked mine because mine also had to do with concrete, but it was that I was just being like, I had my water bottle, like, okay, so I just ran and I was sitting in the sun at the park and I had my water bottle and I took my like AirPod Maxes off, right? These things are like $500 plus. I put them on my water bottle, like as if the water bottle was my head because I didn't want to put them on the ground because it was concrete. And I was like filming a TikTok and I don't know what, I think I went to move my water bottle out of the way because I was using it as like a stand or like move it back and they just like popped off and I scratched the shit out of them. Like it's like, here, I'll show you. Like the place where like it's nice. Like I'm like, this is why I can't have nice things. It actually doesn't look that bad, but like
so they fell onto
like
the
this.
concrete and got scratched?
yeah.
Almost like,
You can't even see.
that's unfortunate though, because those are really nice.
But like this like nice like
yeah,
part of it
it's like
got
sleek.
scratched. Yeah.
And it sucks. 'Cause
It's
you
not
can't
even that bad, but
I can see it though a little bit. I mean, I wouldn't have like noticed it if you were just walking by, but that sucks because like it's gonna bother you more than it bothers
Oh my God,
anyone
it's
else.
gonna
Like
bother
you're
me 'cause
gonna
I
be
just, like,
staring at it.
don't want to have nice things that aren't nice. Like what the heck's the point?
Yeah, and
you
you
know,
like can't do
but-
anything about scratches. It's like when you
Oh my
get
God,
a
no.
new like Stanley or a wallet and you drop it, and it's like I'm
Mhm,
like,
there's,
and
like, a
now
dent.
I just have
And
to throw it
now
out.
it's yeah. Like
Now you're dead to me.
no. Yeah, it's just like not nice anymore. It just defeats the whole purpose. So
Yeah.
that was
Aw.
sad. I was so like when you do something stupid and you're just like so pissed at yourself because it was just that split second and it was
Mhm.
like you're just like, can I just redo that? Like because it just happened so fast.
Yeah, and you're like, I knew
Yeah.
better. Well, it's okay. You're only human.
Only human.
All right.
Well, we have an exciting rest of our day. We are going to
We
Westchester
do.
later and we're going to do something different.
Mhm.
It's like a Pilates, but it's like what would you call it?
So it's really showcasing, like in our previous live podcast events, we talk about like the college experience, but this one is catered to female college athletes. And Jess is going to be stepping into the interview role, and I'm going to be stepping into the hot seat. And it's going to be all about like the female college athlete experience. And we're going to be talking about things like performance anxiety and healthy hormones, realistic habits for college students, recovery, body image, like so much.
Yeah.
And it's really just going to be like all of my experience, and it's all just going to be like anecdotal evidence from me. So it'll be like a little bit of like storytelling instead of coming at it from like a clinical, like professional mindset, which I think will have the ability to like emotionally resonate more with the college students. And then, we're going to also kick things off with a little like mat Pilates flow. So I'm excited.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. We have so many goodies for this. Like we have so much PR.
Really?
Yeah.
Like I have no idea what we have.
We have a little bit of everything. I actually have to go put that together before.
Yeah.
But yeah, very, very excited. That's at 7 p.m. tonight. So we have a long day ahead.
Yeah, we do. All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in.